Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel, and today we're getting into some unsettling Reddit threads. Today's threads are insane. They are disturbing, they're weird, they're scary, they're depressing, and most important of all, they are interesting. So you'll want to make sure to stick around. I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by. It means the world. Comment down below if you'd like to see me continue the series in the future, and please like the video and subscribe to the channel. The channel's goal is 1 million subscribers, so please subscribe. It helps so much. And yeah, today's video will be long enough already. So without further ado, let's get into some unsettling Reddit threads. Sink randomly full of warm, soapy water. Me and my husband were asleep. Originally posted to r/whatdoIdo and r/strange. And the post was posted on July 23rd, 2025. And the post reads as follows. Okay, as the title suggests, my husband, who's 25 male, and I, who's 24 female, are asleep. It's currently 12:55 as I write this. I wake up to get a drink of water, and the washing up bowl is full of warm, soapy water. I wake up my husband, and he is just as confused. The pots are from earlier and all dry. We live alone, and I always leave my bowl/sink empty due to flies. Spain. What the fuck? I've never experienced this before. I've had weird experiences here, but nothing like this. And then she shares a picture of her sink with a bowl or a tub full of warm, soapy water. And then some of the top comments read as follows. Someone says, oh, I know this one. Get a carbon monoxide detector. And then the OP responds saying, should have saw this one coming. And the OP also gives us an update saying, carbon monoxide checked. Not that. Thank God, but also, And then another commenter leaves a more disturbing comment saying, if you have an attic or crawl space, you might want to check them, referring to maybe someone hiding out in the OP's house. And then the OP responds saying, we have no attic or basement, and we live in a 2-bedroom apartment. We have checked the rooms and nothing. Checked the locks just to be sure. We do have a few crawl spaces, but too much furniture to check. And then the OP gives us an update, and it was posted the same day as the original post, saying, hi everyone, last night was rough. I didn't sleep much and was quiet, trying to figure out if anyone breaking in or otherwise. Luckily, or maybe unluckily, no signs. New carbon monoxide detector has been ordered, new cameras too. I put a piece of paper in the bowl last night after emptying and drying it, perhaps to see if there was a leak. I even left the pots the same for context, lol. Nothing. I appreciate the helpful comments. Just to clear up a few reoccurring comments, no, neither of us have a history of sleepwalking, and no, neither of us have a history of drug use or sleeping medication. Smiley face. And then the OP gives us a second update. And the post reads as follows. Carbon monoxide battery changed/checked. Still all clear. We have also ordered a new detector, just to be sure. We have checked our house and we cannot see any unlocked doors or windows that need attention. We don't own any attic or basement, but we do have a few crawl spaces. Husband is going to check this out with a buddy tomorrow and make sure it's all clear as well, as the attached house belonging to my in-laws. They are away for a while in the UK. The only people who have access to our apartment with a key, etc. Thanks guys, we'll update tomorrow. And then the OP gives us a third update, 4 days later, saying, hi everyone, sorry I didn't update sooner. Had a lot of abusive messages which made me not want to post anymore, but I also know there are people here genuinely curious and supportive. To answer common questions, I have checked the monoxide detector twice and even replaced it. We are safe and that is not it. We also have no dishwasher. We don't take sleeping pills or any drugs. As I stated a couple days ago, we searched our flat and my husband's parents' adjoining house with some friends. Here's the weird part. Our area is clear as expected. We don't have an attic or basement, but we also searched the house connected while his parents are away in the UK for a while. Turns out the upstairs loft had an old mattress which looked used despite being left as a spare. Bottles of what looks like pee and some empty wrappers, etc. Nobody was up there, but we alerted police who came to check it out. They helped us call a locksmith and search the house completely and our apartment to nothing. We hope whoever it was isn't able to come back. I think this will be my last update unless there's some more updates or if the person returns." So it ended up being that someone was living in the OP's house, or the connected house. How terrifying is that? And then there was some top comments. Someone says, "Yeah, they were probably bathing in that hot soapy water. That's what I commented on your other post. Them moving around is what woke you that night." How terrifying is that? Someone else says, "Oh my God, this is horrifying." Someone else says, "I had a feeling that was it. Damn. Glad to hear you're safe and you've contacted police and a locksmith. And I'm so sorry people were being mean. Thank you for leaving this update and not avoiding posting again because of other Reddit users' poor social skills." Someone else says, "This is genuinely horrifying. How are you feeling?" And then the OP replies saying, "Pretty paranoid and shaken up, to be honest. We've changed all the locks and we're staying at a hotel for a couple nights just to be sure and process everything. My main concern is if whoever it was knew we were asleep only a couple doors away, what was the water used for? Where were they when I made my original post and sat up for hours reading comments/advice? Chills. Oh my God, that is actually so scary." Yeah, that is a good question by the OP. Where was the person when OP came out? Oh my God, how scary is that if the guy or whatever was watching her scroll through comments and stuff like that? So scary. And then someone else replies to the OP saying they were likely bathing or cleaning their clothes or bottles when they heard you wake in the middle of the night. Terrifying thought is this is probably not the first time. Only the first time they've been caught. And yeah, this is genuinely horrifying. This is like my worst nightmare ever. So yeah, this was a very chilling post to read for myself. And yeah, that's just insane. How long was this guy doing it? And hopefully the OP's all right now. Hopefully this guy kind of learned his lesson and got the hell out of there. And hopefully he isn't in someone else's attic or whatever. But yeah, this is a good, PSA. Check your attics, check your crawl space, check your basements. Who knows if somebody's living down there? I don't mean to make you guys paranoid, but yeah, I don't know. These stories are a good reminder to just be careful and, aware of your home and if anyone's lurking around. Very scary post, but very interesting. On to the next one. Really weird noises in the cassava fields at night in Fitsanalock at night. Rabid dog? Hey guys, I'm kind of freaked out and need some advice. My wife and I just moved to the outskirts of Fitsanalock a few weeks ago, which is in Thailand. We're surrounded by cassava, corn, and rice fields. It's pretty quiet out here, which is nice, but lately I've been hearing some weird shit at night. For the past few nights, around 2 or 3 a.m., I've been woken up by these super weird noises coming from the fields. At first, I thought it was just some dogs fighting or something, but it doesn't sound quite right. It's like this low, guttural growling mixed with what sounds like, I don't know, wet shuffling? It's hard to describe, but it's creeping me out. It sounds like squelching, if that makes sense. Like wet. We have large sliding window doors for my bedroom that basically just step out into the yard, and my bed is right next to them. We close the curtains at night, even though there's really nothing around, but it's easy for me to peel back the curtain and look outside. We don't have any street lamps out here or anything, so it's basically pitch black. But I can see something moving around in the field across the street, which is now just dirt because they harvested the large cassava plants that were there. I mean, it looks like a big dog, but the way it moves is just off, like jerky and unnatural. Its eyes caught some light and reflected, and they were really bright, and it scared the crap out of me. The eye shine that animals have, if you know what I'm talking about. But this was dimmer, like it was coming from inside the thing's head. Like if you were to cover a flashlight with a blanket. I opened the sliding door to see if I could hear anything, and it smelled like a kind of rotting meat smell outside. And I heard almost like a wet sliding sound and grunting. The only thing I can think of is that there is a kind of dog with rabies out here, but it's scaring me because I have a 10-month-old. Is rabies common out in the countryside areas? I know there are a lot of dogs out here and people kind of just let them run around. I'm worried if there's a rabid dog, it could spread. Anyone else in Fitsanalock experienced anything like this? Or am I just being paranoid? Any advice would be appreciated. And then let's get into some of the top comments. One commenter says, I'm also team wild boar. I'm from North Germany and we have them a lot in the woods. They are smelly and loud as hell. You can hear them from 100 meters clearly. Edit. Got curious and read about Fitz Sandlook, and to my surprise, you guys also have moon bears, tigers, and leopards there. Good luck with a peaceful sleep. Another commenter said, there are vultures in Thailand. Believe it or not, especially around the national parks. Perhaps that's what you're seeing and hearing, and it would explain the rotting meat smell. The only other thing I can think of is a wild boar. I would look for tracks in the morning and see what you can see. Another commenter said, nah bro, this is terrifying. I'd be out of there the next morning. From what I know, a rabid dog should not have any smell at all, and everything else sounds equally terrifying. For your sake, I hope this is just some good storytelling. And then the OP replies saying, I thought maybe it could just be a dirty or injured or have mange or something. The smell is pretty strong though. I can only really explain it as rotting meat. I'm not much of a storyteller, haha, just explaining what's going on. Hoping somebody might have some insight. We can't really leave since we essentially built a house here and have literally just moved in. And then a commenter says, you're in Thailand, man. The past still lives there, like black magic, ghosts, demons, spirits, good and bad. I would say it's one of these. Thailand is a place of seers and prophets. And then another commenter says, 100%, although this stuff exists elsewhere. In my opinion, Thailand, they have more power because of collective belief in spirits. Blame everyone for giving spirits, Fanta, as a substitute for blood, lol. I don't see it being a bore. It should be obvious with the tracks. And then another commenter asked, how close were you to it? I just couldn't ever imagine a smell that bad unless it was actually a dead animal. That in combo with the noises and it being at the same time is genuinely nightmare fuel. No actual insight, but I hope you figure it out. Keep us posted. And then the OP replied to a few of the comments saying, so we have a small plot of land with about 20 meters between my bedroom window, which steps out into the yard, and the road. The road is very small. You can barely fit 2 cars next to each other on it. And basically, across the road is just fields as far as you can see. Right now, flattened dirt. But before, it was really tall cassava plants when we first got here. But it was strong enough for me to be able to smell it. And then another commenter says, it's probably just dogs. I am in Phetchabun, and all the weird noises I hear turn out to be dogs. They get up to some annoying shit in the middle of the night. Edit. I'd recommend getting a motion camera. And then that was the end of that thread. And then 4 days later, the OP gives us an update. And then the post is titled, the noises are still going on at 3 a.m. every morning. I bought a bunch of CCTV cameras. And the post reads as follows. Figured I'd do a quick update to this original post. I'm really freaking out now. My wife is terrified as well. That weird creature keeps coming around at 3 a.m. or so and stalking the area around the house. Always just out of view in the fields. Here is a picture of the area the next morning. I don't see any dirt disturbed, so I don't see how it's a wild boar. And then the OP includes a picture of the field in the daytime, and we'll take a look at the picture now. It's just a simple dirt field. I guess, yeah, we can't really see any sort of tracks or anything, but, you know, open field. And I feel like it would be able to be easy to see with a CCTV camera, but I guess if it's out of the light or whatever, it'd be pretty hard to see any sort of creatures or whatever the thing is. And he says the area across the street where I hear the noises / see the movement. Okay, cool. So this is the area where the noises are coming from. And then he continues saying, I just bought a bunch of CCTV cameras that can see at night. I'm getting them set up around the property now because we are really scared. Here's the kind I got. I don't know much about cameras, so I hope these are good. Got them off of Lazada. I don't know what Lazada is. I guess it's a foreign Amazon or something. But here he got a hell of a lot of cameras. He got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6 or 7, or 7 or 8. Very interesting. Maybe he'll catch it. I don't know. Let's continue. The thing is, though, I actually walked outside this morning with my phone / light on, trying to get it on camera. And it's like the closer I moved, the more it got further away. And I could see it vaguely with my naked eye, but I couldn't pick it up on the camera. but the rotting smell got so bad I got this huge, insane rush of fear that I basically ran back inside and closed the curtains like a baby. I was so scared. I don't know what this is. I don't think it's a boar. I will try to get something on camera. Any advice or similar experiences would be very helpful. I feel like I'm losing my mind. And then some top comments on the post. Some people say, I hope it's some local landowners trying to scare you away like Scooby-Doo. That'd be really funny. Someone else said, Skinwalker Ranch Thai Edition. I'm glad this guy's getting help by the commenters when they're just joking. Someone else said, I had an experience like you. I woke up a few times in the middle of the night. I heard movement outside the kitchen. I was convinced it was people. Like buffalo are all in the stable at that time. It continued for a few nights and I casually mentioned it to my wife. It was water monitors. She had been throwing chicken skin over the wall. They had smelt it and come to eat. And oh my God, a water monitor is crazy. I forgot like Thailand has all these animals, but a water monitor is this huge like alligator sort of thing. Not an alligator, but it's a huge ass lizard. Yeah, Thailand's got a lot of animals. I think it could be a lot of things OP's dealing with. But anyways, another commenter said, why don't you just ask your neighbor or someone that has lived there a while? That's a good point. Another commenter said, just a ghost. There are thousands of them in rural Thailand. Go to a shrine with 6 Red Bull and a Mano soda. Another commenter says, 3 a.m. is around witching hour by local beliefs. You can all not believe it, but I have had enough experiences not to knock it. I would talk to locals and maybe get a monk to hold a house welcoming ritual. Another commenter said, several animals could fit this description. Someone said, a wild boar, common in Thailand. They're known for their growls, shuffling through vegetation, and musky odor. Another guess was Asian elephant. While less likely in a cassava field, they're powerful, can make deep growls, and have a strong smell. Large civet. These nocturnal mammals are known for their musky scent, growls, and varied diet, which can include crops. Ratel, honey badger. Though less common, they're known for their tenacity, growls, and foul odor when threatened. It's difficult to say definitively without more information. If you're convinced, consider contacting local wildlife authorities for advice. And then another commenter said, have you considered it could be something small, like insects or frogs? They can make very outsized and unnatural sounds. This makes me think it is a lot of something small that makes a lot of noise, rather than a single, larger creature. When you get close, the nearby ones stop, but the further away ones keep going, giving the impression that the sound is just out of reach all the time. That's actually a really good theory. Recording the sound and posting it might help more to get an ID. And then the OP didn't reply to a single one of those comments, which is a little weird. And then I go to his profile and look for any other updates, and he posts in r/ask psychiatry, and he made a relatively disturbing post saying, is this collective hysteria? I hope this is the right place to ask this. I live in Thailand and my wife, Thai, just bought a house in the countryside, and I want to see if we are basically sharing some kind of hysteria or delusion. About 2 months in, we start hearing weird noises out in the fields. Cassava fields, but now it's dirt because they've been harvested, so it's just flat land / dirt for a long way. At first, I thought it was a rabid dog, then a wild boar. Other people suggested other animals. The issue is that it starts at about 3 a.m. every morning. It's this squelching sound. The only way I can describe it is if you take a wet sponge and constantly keep squeezing it. That wet squelch sound. Following the sound is a stench that smells sort of like rotting meat. I can see the thing moving out in the field, but it's very unnatural, like jerky movements, almost as if it was under a strobe light, if that makes sense. I've seen its eyes. They can reflect light, but that's about it. Kind of like a cat's eyes, I guess. Okay, so here's where I'm starting to think we're going crazy or something. I bought a ton of CCTV cameras that have night vision. I put them all over the house. Some looking at the yard, some looking at the field / road outside the house. Just basically surrounding the house. I was like 100% sure I'm going to catch whatever this thing is on camera. So after we get everything set up, 3 a.m. rolls around and the thing is back out in the field. I turn on the app to see if I can see it on the night vision camera we had mounted outside, and there is nothing there. I look out with my naked eye and I can see the jerky movements. I look back at the camera, nothing. Not only that, but there is no recording of the sound I hear either. After a few more nights of this, I finally got one of those really strong flashlights with the crazy bright beams and was determined to go out with my phone and basically shine a light on this thing. So the next morning, I wait. 3 a.m. rolls around on cue, and I go out with the phone/flashlight. But every time my beam hit where it was, it changed locations. It would suddenly appear on the outside of the beam, just outside of it, or really far away. If I turn it off, it goes back to where it was. So it's at this point I'm starting to doubt my sanity. Like, am I even seeing this? But here's the thing. My wife is seeing it too, and she's hearing it. At this point, we're terrified, so we started asking some of the neighbors. This is a sparsely populated area that's basically farmland, and the houses are really far apart. But we went to our closest neighbor, who is this guy who raises cows and stuff. We asked him about it, and he basically refused to talk to us and shoot us away. He pointed at his cows and said basically, "I don't want to hurt my cows," and clammed up. My wife and I have an 11-month-old, and we are not getting much sleep anymore. We're constantly scared about this thing that keeps coming around that we can't capture on camera. My question is, could we be experiencing some kind of collective delusion? How can we tell? Are there some tests we can take, or something to determine if this is in our heads? Thanks for the help, and sorry for the long post. So that took a crazy turn. So maybe the OP is dealing with some mental health issues. I mean, there's a myriad of reasons why he's seeing these things at 3 a.m. Number one, it could be an animal. Number two, it could be a person out there. Number three, it could be a supernatural ghost or something. And now number four, mental health. So there's a lot of options he has to weigh. And a commenter says under this post saying, "Info, do you have any other reason to suspect mental illness besides this experience? What stops you from just ignoring it?" And then the OP replies saying, "I don't have any other reason to suspect it, no. As far as I know, we're both super healthy. I don't know how I can ignore it. It's pitch black out here at night. Then this thing shows up smelling like rotting meat at the same time every morning, making these weird noises across the road, and now I can't catch it on camera, but I can hear/see it with my own senses. To be honest, we are both terrified. I don't know how you can ignore something like that. Like, oh, there's some weird thing crawling around 20 meters away again. Guess I'll just go back to sleep." And then someone replies to that saying, "Sounds like a possibility that you guys have got so anxious about it that in the dark you are struggling to interpret your senses. That would be more of an anxiety thing and is way more common than shared psychosis. The timing at precisely on the hour makes me think of someone's farming machinery on a timer, maybe belonging to the unhelpful neighbor. I would certainly ask other neighbors." And there's a few other comments, but nothing super notable. And that is the last update we've heard from the OP, and this was 9 months ago. So I have no clue what happened to the OP. I mean, it is weird that, he showed proof of buying the cameras, but then he said, "I can't see this thing on the camera." And sure, this could be made up, but the way this is all framed just does not seem like a made up story, especially with that second post, because that second post wasn't even in the quote unquote viral original thread. This was kind of like a cry for help almost with a few upvotes. So it feels very eerie, unsettling, and odd. I don't know what's going on with the OP. Like I said earlier, it could be so many different things. Could it be a ghost? Could it be an animal? Could it be bugs? Could it be his own mind playing tricks on him? I don't know. But it is creepy, and I just wonder what it is, and hopefully OP and his family get this figured out, because you can't deal with that every single night. Waking up at 3 a.m., not getting sleep, then it's going to probably worsen if it is mental health issues. So very interesting and creepy, and hopefully the OP is doing better now, but maybe we'll hear an update one day. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Very interesting. On to the next one. I, 33 female, read my husband's 37 male journal, and in it, He says that he hates me and hopes I die. My husband has kept a semi-regular journal throughout our 4-year relationship. He does not keep it hidden, and up until now, I've always respected his privacy. We had a heated conversation and my gut told me to read it, so after he left for work, I did. He wrote several times that he hates me, and at one point, he said when I was sick, he hoped I would die. When I read those words, I packed up me and our baby and went to a friend's where I'm staying now. I took pictures of all the pages. I told him I just need some space to cool off after our conversation and I will be home soon. I booked with my therapist and contacted a lawyer. We had a rough patch recently that lasted about 2 weeks. It was a dark time, but we pulled through. There was no violence, no moments where I was afraid of him, just sincere conversations about difficult feelings. The notes of hatred correspond with that rough patch. The rest of the journal is tame and reflects the man I know and love. Mostly little self-pep talks about work and family stuff, goals, habit tracking. He has sent me several warm messages since I left. He says he's glad I'm taking space for myself, that he looks forward to reconnecting when I come home. It's okay to have little hiccups, that he loves me, etc. I was sure our relationship was over the moment I read that he hates me, or even the moment I felt the need to violate his privacy. But the warm messages in the rest of the journal have me wavering a little. I understand the need to blow off steam when things are tense, and journaling is a healthy way to do that. But never, in even our darkest moments, have I fantasized about his death. Splitting up, maybe. But this feels so sinister. I don't know how I could ever feel safe around him again. Is this just healthy venting, and I'm overreacting here? Has anyone else had similar thoughts about a spouse that they got over? Or is this a man I need to protect myself and my baby from? Edit to add context. The rough patch was about his feelings for another woman. He didn't cheat, but his friendship with her makes me uncomfortable. The part of the journal where he says he hates me was written as a love letter to her. He says he thinks about me dying and being replaced. Damn, that's dark. Let's get into some comments. Someone says, he wishes you dead? And no, you are not overreacting. That is how he feels about you. All the others an act. Girl, check if he has taken a life insurance on your name with him as beneficiary. And she is not overreacting at all. That is insane for him to wish death upon her and also wished for her to be replaced. Another commenter says, especially because they're fighting over the fact that he has feelings for another woman. Not a good combination of factors. And then the OP replies to that saying, yeah, I don't want to wind up on the wrong end of a podcast. I do think he is seriously in love with her. And it creeps me out that he feels that way considering what little contact they've had. He barely knows her. Another commenter says, I'm married 17 years and I've never wished my spouse would die. Like what? Does he know you've seen this? He just left it out like he wanted you to see it? And are you the mother of his child? And the OP responds to this saying, he doesn't know I've seen this. He has always left it out. And then the OP gives us an update about a day later. And the update reads as follows. I hope I'm doing this right. Thank you so much for all the advice and words of encouragement. Some of it was tough to read, but still deeply appreciated. Wanted to do an update because a lot of people were concerned for my safety. I took a commenter's advice and sent the pictures to a trusted friend. She pointed out that a passage I initially read as every day I think about telling her actually very clearly says killing her. Oh boy. I guess my brain couldn't comprehend that at first. I received a ton of helpful perspective and support, but that comment in particular might have saved my life. Wow, so this guy has wished death upon her and also said, every day I think about killing her. Yeah, I really hope the OP runs away from this relationship. I mean, that is beyond ridiculous. And the post continues as follows. After I digested that, I called a crisis line, and they were quite helpful in talking me through the shock. They also put me in touch with a center that's helping me get more affordable legal help. Bought some more time for my husband. Told him I'm enjoying getting out of town and I'd like to stay an extra night or two. I have therapy tomorrow and an appointment with a social worker to make a safety plan. I feel like I have a good crew of family, friends, and professionals supporting me. Absolutely zero regrets now about reading this journal. My gut told me something was off, but I couldn't have imagined a worst case scenario as bad as this. I'm so glad the inner alarm bells were louder than my conscience this time. Nothing about this marriage is worth risking my life over to salvage. And I feel so bad for the OP. And I mean, for him to write it down, I just feel like that's infinitely more insane because, I mean, it's crazy to even think about death upon your significant other, but to think it so much that you have to get it out by writing it out is just crazy. I mean, I really, really hope that the OP is okay, but the OP posted this on a throwaway account, so I really don't know if we will ever see an update from the OP. I really don't think we know what happened to her, but I really just wish her the best. And we never got an update after that. So hopefully she's all right and well. Hopefully her and her baby are all right. Hopefully the divorce, which I assume they got a divorce, went well as well. But there were some comments on this post, and the comments read as follows. He will temporarily be even more dangerous once he realizes you're leaving, and especially once he realizes it will cost him a lot of money. Child support, divorce attorney, no matter how sweet he acts, please don't be alone with him at all. Be very aware of your surroundings. And that's a great comment. I mean, if he was dangerous before and thinking these things before, that who knows what could happen once he realizes she wants a divorce. I mean, something horrible could happen. And another commenter says, I have a journal myself, and while I get annoyed with my husband, I've never written it in there once that I wanted him to die. I know my husband would never do this, but if he felt curious, he could read mine. Although it's a lot of cringy, boring junk. I'm glad you are out of the house right now and talk to an IRL friend about this. Take care of yourself and stay safe. And yeah, like I said, I wish the best for OP and her baby. Such a scary situation. And after reading so many of these Reddit threads and such, just go with your gut feeling at all times. If you think your significant other or someone else it's giving you a bad vibe and your gut feeling is telling them they're a little bit off, then more times than not, something's off. I mean, it's kind of amazing what the human brain can pick up on subliminally and then kind of give you a bad gut feeling. But yeah, that's a good lesson. If you feel like you're in a bad situation, then, reassess your situation and make sure you're all right. Just stay safe out there. I don't think my boss knows that I know there's a camera in my office. Originally posted to r/true off my chest and originally posted on June 1st, 2023. And the post reads as follows. I don't know where to start because I'm not even sure if this is weird or not. I started at this new job not long ago, and since the first day, I've known there was a camera in my office. I don't think it's necessarily weird to have cameras in an office setting. There's cameras in all sorts of places for all kinds of reasons. But the camera in my office isn't any sort of built-in fixture. And my individual office room is the only office with a camera in it. On the first day of the job, I realized my boss was too aware of my actions. He said something to me that threw me off, and I knew he wouldn't have brought it up unless he had been watching me do something. It was just too coincidental, but it was casual at the same time, so it wasn't a direct allusion to the camera he has. But immediately after that incident, I scanned around the room, and I found a camera nestled into a cubby with a small wire that leads into his adjacent office. My other boss had also indirectly responded to my actions in the group chat. The few times I had spent an excessive amount of time on my phone were times that the, hey guys, let me know if you guys need anything to work on. I know things are slow. Messages would trickle in. Anything that seemed to hint at me being watched was also said or done ambiguously enough that they weren't revealing anything about being able to see me, and if I'm not supposed to know I'm being watched. And that's what is unsettling to me. The camera is pointed directly at me. Not the door, not the front of my desk, not anywhere else that would make sense for security. I've looked at everyone else's offices and did not see a single camera. The camera is pointed specifically at me, and I don't even deal with money or anything that could be stolen. I don't know if I should bring this up. I'm not entirely mad, and I guess I understand the reasoning. I'm making sure I'm on task or some shit. It just bothers me a little that I can be watched whenever, and they never even disclose that. I feel like someone being constantly monitored has the right to know that they are, especially since I'm the only one being watched like this. I at least use it to my advantage because I at least know not to be on my phone, lol. And then the OP gave us an update, and the update reads as follows. I wasn't expecting so many responses. I genuinely appreciate how concerned everyone is about whether or not I'm okay. It makes me feel good knowing a lot of people care about a stranger's well-being. I've seen a lot of comments asking for an update, so this is really the most I have of one. Nothing has changed yet. I haven't brought it up to them because part of me is wondering if they'll eventually remove it. I was curious to see if they would ever bring it up themselves, or if I could find a way to hint at the fact that I know. I sort of want them to stay unaware that I know, so I can see how they act in response to my actions to potentially call it out in the future. The top comment is pretty funny about staring into the camera. There were a few times where something ridiculous would happen with something and I'd stare into the camera for a moment as if I was breaking the fourth wall, LMAO. I don't think I'm going to bring it up just yet. I actually really like working here. I get along with my coworkers and they pay me decently for what I do. For everyone asking, yes, I am a woman. I don't think this is as much of a harassment case as it is just a micromanaging thing. They haven't done or said anything to me to make me feel like they were hitting on me. Just genuine politeness. My guess for the camera is that they're maybe testing my integrity and seeing how much time I spend on my phone even out of view of other people, which I could understand, but wow. I wish there was another way besides a camera on me. There's been a few other micromanaging things to happen like have irked me a little, but I still like my bosses in spite of that. If something changes, like if I start getting the vibe that it's becoming creepy, I'll keep you guys updated. Oh, and also a few things I wanted to mention that a lot of people had ideas about. You guys had good ideas, by the way. Due to where it's at, it would be really hard to cover the camera with anything. I can't really reach it, so I'd have to find something that maybe a wide shelf that would block view from underneath it. The wire runs into my boss's office. You can't see the wire from mine, so I'd have to take a picture of it from inside his office, so I don't know if I'm able to evidence collect too easily. I'm also trying to be a bit vague with details because I got a little paranoid about the idea of my boss somehow coming across this thread. Anyways, I appreciate you guys, and I'm sorry I don't have a more thrilling update. I'll let you guys know if anything changes. And then some relevant comments under this post. And then someone says, anytime you are finished with a task and waiting for another one, spend excessive amounts of time staring into the camera. Another person says, is this your office? Place a nice plant/object in the way of the camera to decorate. If the decoration is moved, ask why. Why are they so passive aggressive? How much time do they waste snooking off to whatever you're doing? This type of stuff is usually someone just stroking their ego, flexing their power. Weirdos. And then a user replies to that saying, from other comments in the thread, OP is a 21-year-old woman, so definitely double sketch. And I would agree. I mean, if no one else has a camera in their office, but she does, especially if she's one of the only young women in the office, yeah, that's a little bit weird. Another commenter says, not to be weird, OP, but I did look at your post history because I needed more context on your age and gender, as I think it does matter in this situation. Seeing that you're a 22 female confirmed my suspicions that your boss may be a creep. You mentioned that at least one of your bosses is a male, which makes me wonder what his intentions are. I'm also not sure how deep of a search you did of your office, but I would implore you to look under your desk, chair, and anywhere in the surrounding area where you typically sit. Nowadays, cameras are easily available online that can be as small as a button, or be disguised as something benign like a smoke detector. It is possible that you are only one being spied on, but it is also possible that your employer has hidden cameras elsewhere in your workplace. such as bathrooms or break rooms. That escalated quickly. You also did not mention what state you are from, but I am pretty sure any lawyer in any state could make a case for a young woman that was being filmed without her consent by her male employers. No matter which way you split it, it looks very bad on their end, and I can't really think of any non-nefarious reason why they would need to record you. I know you are not asking for advice, but I would confront them directly or gather evidence to turn into the police and quit. No job is worth your privacy. And this person isn't completely wrong, but I would disagree on they said there's not a non-nefarious reason they would be doing this. And I think the OP has highlighted the non-nefarious reason why they might be doing this is to check on her productivity, or if they are just checking if she's doing her job, I guess, which, isn't a great explanation, but there is a possible, I guess, alibi to the boss and be like, well, I was just trying to see if you're doing your job. And so there is a possible reason, but it is pretty creepy. And then the OP gives us an update. And the update reads as follows. And this was also posted 24 days after the original post. And it reads as follows. There's no HR, but the camera was removed thanks to IT. So as previously stated, I still never said anything about the camera. I wasn't really comfortable with it, but I got used to being conscious of my actions so they weren't seeing anything I didn't want them to. There also isn't some sort of HR to talk to about this or anything like that. But our IT guy came in and he asked my boss about it. I wasn't in the room, so I didn't hear the conversation. But the first thing I heard was my boss saying that the camera was there before my office ever was. Something about using it to see the front door originally, I guess. That was a weird excuse to me, though, because I've been there for at least 2 months at this point, and there's no way they could have accidentally watched me as much as it felt like they had been. Hearing the conversation out loud also confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was a camera and that I wasn't paranoid. The IT guy must have felt some type of way about it because I didn't hear what he said, but I heard my boss say something about, well, it's not like I was just watching her in her office, in sort of a quieter, sheepishly defensive way. Nobody said anything to me while they were moving it. They took it from his side, not mine, but they instead put it where it would be facing the front door. This happened just over a week ago. I haven't posted an update until now because I was waiting to see if the camera would be put back. I really wanted to see if they were going to put it back a few days after IT left, because that would have been wild. But it's been over a week now. The camera is still away from me. It'll take some time before I stop feeling like I'm watched all the time, though. I'm really curious what the guy said to my boss. Whether he said something about it not being allowed, or if he called it flat out creepy, haha. But I'm glad he did say something, as it got resolved without me ever having to say anything. I'd like to think he low-key had my back. I've still just been acting as if I've never known and haven't said anything about it, and work carries on. Also, it's so wild that this story got put in a Smosh video. Holy shit. And now it's got put in a Snook video, so I know Snook isn't as popular as Smosh, but it's something. Anyways, I heard the news back to back. First time that Hey Smosh brought their channel back at the same time as Hey your post is in a new Smosh video. I made this post mostly to vent because I couldn't tell if I had the right to feel so weird about this situation because everyone in my personal circle says it isn't that weird, so it's nice that so many strangers are validating how I feel. To hear people talk about my experience on a public platform was a little surreal, I won't lie. It's got so much more traction than I was ever expecting, but it makes me feel better, so thank you, genuinely. My experience feels validated and it feels heard, and I feel better because of it. I'm still going to stay at this job because I still like everyone here and I enjoy my field, but now I'll be doing it under a little less surveillance, lol. If the camera comes back, I'll let you know. And then some relevant comments on this post. One comment reads, "You're just way too kind, but if that's your decision, go for it. Hoping for the best." And I'd agree. She is being very chill about it. I mean, I personally would be like, hey, how about that camera that was in my office staring at me and you'd sometimes like respond to the things I do? So you're watching it? And so I would definitely confront them, but yeah, she does have a good gig going. It sounds like she likes her job, which is great, but still, it's a little bit creepy that the boss is doing that. And if, I'm sure he won't probably put the camera back because if he got caught once, that's one thing. But if he gets caught again, that's another where he definitely looks like a creep. So I don't know. Maybe the creep learned his lesson. Maybe he is a creep. Maybe he isn't a creep. I don't know. I'm interested to hear more about the story, but the OP really hasn't posted about it ever since, so we don't know. Another commenter says, I'm relieved that the camera was moved at the very least, but I'm still very worried for you and your situation. The details you heard them say definitely confirms things. They don't use the cameras for any work-related purpose, and they know it sounds creepy, and it also sounds like it's kept secret since other people like the IT guy didn't know about it and also got creeped out by it. I can only imagine how you must feel by it all, but I'm sure it's scary and very uncertain. From what I've read, it sounds like you really value this job, so downplaying things and hoping for the best might feel like the only safe solution to not provoke them and stay at the job. If I understood things right at the least, but please stay safe. Not taking action and relying on others to help you is not a safe or lasting solution to things. And I want to point out that who your bosses are publicly do not reflect who they are, or even so, if they seem like nice people, then they don't mean they actually are. That's how it was written. My bad for reading it like a idiot. I'm saying this because if someone is willing to do one bad thing, then they are probably willing to do one more. So if someone who holds power over you see that you don't fight back or take precautions, then they are more likely to use it to their advantage. They might be nice now, but who knows if that will change. But if they leave you alone and things turn out well after this, then that is ideal, I guess. But I want to advise you that look for more cameras just in case to be on the safe side, like how people look for hidden cameras when they stay at a hotel kind of thing. Small hidden cameras, hidden items like screws and stuff like that. I know there is a way to find them, like using your phone's flashlight or something, I think. Maybe look that up when you're at home so you can check your office and maybe bathrooms or something. But I hope things work out for you and that you stay safe. And I'd agree. I mean, this kind of is another lesson for y'all guys. Don't be so, I don't know what the word is, submissive, I guess. Not submissive, but, fight back if something weird like that happens, because, people will take advantage of you if they can walk over you. I mean, this girl kind of showed that she won't fight back against something, and so the boss might be like, okay, cool. She didn't really say anything about this, so I might try to do another thing to spy on her or something. And so, just like if you see something, say something. Interesting story, and hopefully nothing else creepy happens, but interesting story. On to the next one. Found a camera pointed into my bathroom window. What the fuck do I do? What are the chances of having two camera stories back to back? I know I put these scripts together, but still, that's a little bit weird. Anyways, it was posted on r/2hottakes. And the post reads as follows. Self-explanatory title and throwaway account for reasons. Copy pasting from legal advice just for more thoughts and added a little bit more information. Longtime follower of THT from my main account. Yesterday, while I was in my shower, I noticed what looked like a trail camera pointed into my bathroom through the small window over the shower. I usually have a pretty good situational awareness, so there's no way it had been there more than a few days. The more that I think about it, though, I typically shower at night, so I probably wouldn't have noticed it in the dark. I freaked out, called a friend to confirm that I wasn't going crazy and that they saw what I saw, and then called the cops through the non-emergency number. The detective came by within 20 minutes, took a look and said, "Yep, that's a trail camera." He took pictures of it, took it down, and took it in for evidence. He said it looked cellular enabled, but it didn't look like it was on, didn't have an SD card in it, and that maybe the battery had died. And I feel so uncomfortable and unsafe in my own home now, which is so crazy to me because this is such a safe neighborhood. I've already made a trip to the store to get frosted window film and got more security cameras for the outside of my home. I checked the cameras I already had, and of course, this area of my yard is just out of view and nothing odd was caught on the camera within the last 30 days. Just my kids on the trampoline. The icing on the cake, the tree it was attached to is in my fenced backyard. And to make it even better, read worse, I went to install the window film and clean the inside of the window. It was extra clear, and I looked closer. There were streaks on the outside of the window where whoever this was cleaned The window. I've lived here for a year and a half, and I can guarantee I've never cleaned the outside of my windows. I've been suggested to ask my neighbors if their cameras have picked up anything suspicious, but I worry about causing a stir and messing up an investigation if it was one of them. Everyone around me knows that I'm a single mom of 2 kids. The whole thing feels very targeted and makes me so uncomfortable. So what the fuck do I do now? If they find out who did it, do I have any recourse? Can I sue? Restraining order? Shoot, what are the odds the cops even find out who did it? Also, I can't just move. I own, and in this market would be upside down in my mortgage. And yeah, sounds like the OP is obviously panicked, because I would as well, but let's get into some of the top comments. Someone says, also, check your neighborhood S offender records. It might be the first time he's done this, but I doubt. Another commenter said, follow up with the cops constantly, in person, unless you're in a one-horse town where nothing ever happens. They will have more serious cases to them. Someone is targeting you or your kids. You want them identified and stopped before they escalate further. Did the cops ask you if any neighbors had cameras or if you had any idea who might have targeted you? Do not be the nice girl and dismiss people's weird behavior. This is the safety of you and your kids we're talking about. Tell the cops about any strange interactions you've had or that your kids might have mentioned. You know who they are. Trust yourself. If the cops didn't ask you about neighbors who have cameras, tell them. Tell the cops about anyone who did work in your house recently, even if it's the regular service person. You can buy window/door sensors that send alerts and or alarms when the window/door is opened. Check all your windows to make sure they lock securely, including the windows on upper floors. Get your own cameras, interior and exterior. If they find out who did it, you can help put them in jail. So the window is in your fenced backyard. Is it easily visible from the ground? Did it take a ladder or a stool to reach unless someone is really tall? Or is it something you'd only really know about from the inside of the house? Is it obvious it is a bathroom window from the outside? Look, unfortunately, what I'm getting at is it seems plausible that the person who did it knows the layout of the house. You have babysitters for the kiddos? Do they ever invite guests over while they're there? How long have you lived there? Maybe someone who knew the previous owners? I do not own a gun. If you choose to, get whatever permits are required where you live. Make sure you know how to clean it, maintain it, and practice with it regularly, including getting it out of the lockbox hiding place and loading it. For my own self-defense at home, I keep my ice axe by my bed. Used it for hiking/mountaineering. It's carbon fiber. I can wield it effectively with one hand, and it certainly takes chunks out of ice. And I like small CO2 fire extinguishers. You should have extinguishers in every room in your home, and because they're a common household item, most people pay them no mind. Spray them in the face, then swing it at their head. I also have gel pepper spray, but that's usually for when I'm out and about. You can take the girl out of Detroit, but you can't take the Detroit out of the girl. You totally don't need to answer the questions, just giving you some things to think about while you do your safety planning and figure out what next steps you can take for your family's safety. If the kids want a dog and you already have a fenced-in yard, heading to the local animal shelter could work in your favor if you can take on that responsibility. And then the OP replies this saying, "This is phenomenal advice, thank you. As a certified people pleaser, I was nice when talking to the detective and didn't dime out any neighbors, but there's definitely one, maybe two, that teeter the line between neighborly and creepy that I should probably mention. The main one that I'm thinking of has never been inside my house, but he has helped with a bunch of external work when I've been outside fixing things or working on my lawn, etc. Nearly all of it has been done without me asking for help, and I've never been able to decide if he was doing it because he was just neighborly or if he was doing it because he finds me attractive, but I also don't want to cause offense if he had nothing to do with it. I hate myself for that way of thinking. He definitely zeroed in on me the first day I moved in to introduce myself, but there were several neighbors that kind of did that, so I thought maybe that was some kind of small town type of deal. The window is visible from the ground, but in order to see it, you'd have to be on a step stool/ladder and be squished in between this tree and my house. It's a pretty tight squeeze. And of course, it was the only window in my house without blinds or a covering. The detective needed to use my ladder to cut the camera down, and he was a pretty tall dude. Now that I think about it though, my next door neighbor recently replaced the stretch of shared fence. It was him and some buddies that worked on it. I was totally fine with it, saved me several $100s, but that did leave these people with unbridled access to my yard for a bit. My cameras didn't pick them up walking to where my window is, but also, for some reason, my camera was adjusted out of its normal viewing angle when I pulled it up for the police to look at, like someone had moved it. Could just be a coincidence, but I don't like it regardless. I don't want to feel like a bother to the police and really only gave them a 2-line statement, but I'll shoot this guy an email and give him more. He told me to send over any suspicious camera footage if I find any, so I'm sure extra details will be helpful. Man, this sucks. And then the OP gave us an update about a day later, and the post reads as follows. At the suggestion of many, I emailed the detective and provided the additional details about the neighbors, the people working in the fence, the moved camera, and the wiped outside of the window, and anything else I could remember that might help. I also brought up my concerns about the kids being targeted because it is the main bathroom that we all share. He followed up with me really quickly, thanked me for the info, and said it's really common to be overwhelmed at first and not provide many details. Not sure if this was only said to make me feel better. He also let me know that he was working on a search warrant for the SIM card to the camera. He said it could take a couple days to get, but I would be notified immediately if there was any pictures of me or the kids, or if there's any other information he has to give me. He also gave me a few safety tips, similar to those that this subreddit has given me, and said to avoid putting anything on the HOA page for now. Incidentally, shortly after hearing back from the detective, my next door neighbor and the other, overly helpful neighbor, came through the side gate while the kids were splashing around in their blown up pool. I about jumped out of my skin when the gate launched open. There was no heads up or anything before just coming in. Next door neighbor said, "Oh shit, sorry, didn't mean to scare you. We knocked on your door and then assumed you guys were back here." They had an air compressor and a nail gun in tow and said, "We just needed to fix a few loose boards from when we fixed the fence. Should only take a few seconds." There really were a couple of boards that weren't fully attached, and since my next door neighbor had funded the entire shared fence repair, I let them fix it and they left. They were there for all of 5 minutes, tops, and didn't do a single thing except for fix the fence boards, but still, the timing felt really weird. Could it have been legit? Possibly. Could it have been an excuse just to be in my backyard? Also possibly. Before I get crucified for poor decisions, the gate now has a padlock. I looked up the offender registry and didn't find any nearby. My town has an ordinance that prohibits them from residing within a half-mile radius of a school or a park, and we have a ton of parks, which essentially leaves a very small pocket several miles away that someone with that kind of record could live. I did also look up arrest records for my neighbors, which was also uneventful. One neighbor has a super minor arrest from like 15 years ago, but guess which neighbor has several arrests, to include a handful of DV charges. If you guessed overly helpful neighbor guy, you'd be right. I didn't see any convictions, but I'm newer to this state and also don't know where to look to find them, but the county has arrest records readily available. Thank you to everyone who talked some sense into me about not worrying about being a bother to the police and not being nice. My certified people-pleasing ways don't fit a situation as serious as this. I'm going to keep a pulse on the detective to make sure that they're still actively working on the case and be extra vigilant about our surroundings. My new cameras will be installed in the morning, and I've already added a few things to the house that keep us more safe. Unless something really crazy happens, which I'm seriously hoping it doesn't, this will probably be my last update until we find out who did it. And then some relevant comments under this update. Someone said, "I hope you updated the detective about all of this. You have a prime suspect and evidence is piling up. At some point, they might even be able to search his house. Stay strong, you've got this." Another person said, "Stay safe and stay alert. I'm glad that you informed the detective about the info you remembered, even when you thought they were not significant or important, because every little detail is important. And to be honest, in the first moment, people do forget about previous possible important information. Hours later, once the adrenaline calms down, you have a lightning bolt of information rushing in. So the detective didn't just say it to make you feel better. He knows this can happen and was hoping you remembered something a little later and would inform him. You do need to let the detective know about them just walking into the backyard like that. Big hugs. I hope the detective gets the warrant for the SIM card. Another person says, report both of them entering your yard without your permission. The two of them might be involved in this entire situation, and the detective needs to know because maybe the SIM or evidence is also with the other neighbor. I hope you will be safe. Another person said, yes, they are both top suspects. The I will pay for the entire fence scenario screams of trying to cover up creepiness with, see what a good guy I am. And to be honest, that final one seems very speculative. I mean, there are just good people out there. I don't like when people on the Reddit comments just kind of jump to the worst conclusion because, I mean, this guy could just be innocent. He could just be a neighborly guy, and in kind of this this whole situation, he kind of looks like a creep, but maybe he isn't a creep. Maybe he has some creep tendencies, but maybe he didn't set up the camera. I don't like to instantly just go to, oh, he's doing everything out of, trying to cover up that he's a creep. I just don't think that's truthful. But after this, the OP deleted their account and never gave us an update. So we don't know what happened. I would assume that the police were like, hey, don't be posting this. Don't post an ongoing investigation on Reddit. I assume that's probably what they did, and they deleted the account, but I don't know. Hopefully the OP's all right, and hopefully their family's all right, and I wonder what they found on the camera. Because if they found pictures of the OP in the shower or something, that is crazy creepy, and I just wonder who set the camera up. I don't know. Very creepy scenario. On to the next one. I just heard a phone notification in the bathroom while showering alone. Originally posted to r/relationship advice. The post reads as follows. So my fiance and I have been together for 4 years, engaged for 1. I was taking a relaxing bath this evening to enjoy the silence and let the bathroom fan drown out all the outside noise. My phone was on silent. I wasn't wearing earbuds. I'm deep in a meditative state in the bath when I'm jarred by a phone text or email notification sound, clear as day, coming from inside the bathroom. I got up immediately like, what the fuck? I checked my phone, even though I knew it was on silent and there were no notifications. So I'm kind of worried at this point and just feel a sinking in my stomach, so I get dressed and look through every crevice, box, cabinet, drawer, and plumbing fixture in the bathroom to find nothing. I know for a fact I did not just hear it in my brain. It was a distinct Android boo 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 boo, which we don't have any Androids. Before anyone asks, yes, I checked my carbon monoxide levels. LOL. They are fine. I have no mental illnesses. My question is, what do I do? Do I even bring this up to my fiance? I sound crazy and don't want to be accusatory, but my first thought was a second phone hidden by him in the bathroom. Oh, I didn't expect it to take that turn. I couldn't imagine he could ever cheat, but you can never be too vigilant when something random and unexpected like this happens. Okay, interesting. Should I just wait and see if anything happens? I'm not going to lie, I'm a little paranoid, and I've been convincing myself I manifested the noise, but I know in my gut it was real. Where else would I even look though? And then some top comments on this post read as follows. Someone comments, I don't get it. And then the OP responds saying, okay, imagine you are alone in the bath and hear a notification very close by in the room when nobody has left their phone there. And it's not your phone making the noise, and you look to see where the noise came from and don't find anything. What do you do next? And hopefully that answers your guys' question if you are saying the same thing as that commenter saying, I don't get it. I mean, imagine how creepy it would be if you don't know where a phone notification is coming from. I mean, could it be someone inside your house, like outside your door, like listening to you bathe or something? Or is it a hidden phone by the fiance? There's a lot of theories, and I would be freaked out as well. Another commenter said, I'd assume I imagined it, just like when I feel a phantom vibration in my pocket. And then the OP replied saying, that's what I'm trying to play it off as. It was just very distinct and not quiet. Also not a notification sound I'm familiar with, so I really truly feel like I didn't randomly hear a notification that I've heard like 2 other times in my life. Another commenter said, did he hear it? And I guess the commenter is referring to her fiance. And then the OP replies saying, no, he wasn't home at the time. I just checked the vents and see nothing. I've never heard any neighbors through my bathroom before. And then someone else says, probably nothing. And the OP says, I guess. And then we get an update 3 days later. And the post reads as follows. My first post didn't get a ton of activity, but I was made to feel like a crazy person by most people. And for some reason, some of my comments were either deleted or just didn't appear on any post. Anyways, I did not talk to my fiance about it because I found the phone before he got home. Yeah, I tore the bathroom apart again like a madman. But this time I checked behind the toilet tank between the wall. We have about a 2-inch gap. And mounted on the back of the tank was one of those $1 Temu holder things that you peel off and stick on something to hold items. The phone was placed inside of that sticky mounted thing. Definitely not my phone. And obviously was meticulously placed there. Well, my fiance and I broke up. The password was the same as his computer that we share, so I unlocked it while trying to stifle an anxiety attack and found Snapchat conversations with at least 3 different women. Wow. The notification sound I heard lined up with a most recent snap sent to him of a woman's bare parts, asking when he can come do stuff again. In a rage, I smashed the phone and texted my fiance to come home immediately. He came home and already looked pale like he knew. I asked him how long this has been going on, and he refused to answer anything. I told him to pack his crap and leave. As he walks out with his backpack, I hear him mutter, I knew I forgot to silence it. So yeah, I wasn't crazy. I actually heard a notification and he was fucking cheating. Now my whole world is upside down and I don't know where to go from here. I just can't believe this. I fell asleep crying and woke up in a daze, feeling like everything was normal until I remembered. So not a very fun update. Sorry. And then let's get into some of the top comments on this. Someone says, A, get a full STD panel done. B, look at the bright side. Found out before the wedding and children. True. C, you didn't marry this clown. It'll sting for a bit, but be a blessing in disguise. And yeah, I agree with that commenter. This was a total blessing in disguise because, yeah, imagine she got married and then found out when they were married and then have to go through a whole divorce. Like, that is much more messy than just breaking up. Another commenter says, who goes through the trouble of cheating via an extra phone, but then leaves the sound on and uses the same password he shares with his partner? Another commenter said, an idiot, or just a very confident man with a very inflated ego. Another one says, so he probably keeps it there because he used it when he was in the bathroom. Otherwise, there'd be a much better place to keep it hidden. True. And then the OP says, that's exactly what I think happened. He did take really long showers, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day. Oh my gosh, that is so heart-wrenching. I can't imagine. I feel so bad for the OP. Another commenter says, okay, that was already very weird. So he wasted a lot of water that was just running while he texted chicks on Snap. And then the OP replies saying, well, apparently it was the perfect spot to hide a phone because stuff dated back almost a year. Fucking wish it was fake. Seriously. And that's the last we heard from OP. Oh man, that is a heart-wrenching post. I can't imagine finding out my fiance did that, especially before, fiance. I don't know when they were going to get married, but still, like that's crazy. At first the OP thought they were going crazy, and then like what a turn of the events to find his phone hidden on a mount behind the toilet. That is a crazy ass story. I just wish the best for OP because that is truly horrifying and horrible. I feel so bad for her, and hopefully this guy gets what he deserves. Karma will get him. But yeah, that is a horrible thing. But yeah, I guess look on the bright side. They didn't get married and have to go through a divorce. And I do agree with getting an STD thing. Who knows if he went and saw these girls or if he only was doing it online. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if the OP ever talked to her fiance again. I assume they did, but yeah, crazy ass story. My mother has poisoned me. Originally posted to r/off my chest. And the post reads as follows. This is a throwaway account. Ever since I became an adult about a decade ago, my mother has been against me moving out of the house. I finally got a job as a line cook 3 years ago. My mother and the rest of my family, which includes my sister and father, has been against it, mainly saying that such a job cannot sustain me, which was true. They also said that I would hate working, which turned out to be false. About a year and a half later, I quit due to health reasons. The following spring, I got a new job as a computer programmer. While they seemed supportive at first, my mother and sister, who I lived with, gradually became hostile. Eventually, I moved out of the house. About a month later, I lost my job. And about 3 months later, moved back home. Everything was cool at first, but as I was getting calls from recruiters and going to job interviews, they gradually became more hostile again, accusing me of being distant and not caring for them. However, they seemed to be very controlling and hateful of the fact that I wanted to move out and wanted a decent job. So, last month I finally got that job as a programmer again, but it was out of town. I had just enough money to relocate to a new city. They became very hostile starting a few days before I left, accusing me of not loving them, of hating them. On the day before I was scheduled to leave, my mother gave me 2 of my styrofoam ramen noodles cups and tore that cardboard covering that normally comes with it and threw it away. I was suspicious that they were trying to sabotage my life, so I was careful I'm not trying to anger them. She gave me a few more food items which I didn't use to take on the trip with me. When I arrived at my new city and entered my hotel room, I chilled out. I was to go to work the next day, so after the first day of work, I ate a cup of ramen noodles and felt ill. I knew that feeling because my sister fed me something that made me feel the same way in late 2011, which I then assumed was because of my recent illness. I felt weak, lightheaded, and short of breath. I drank water to make me feel better because that's what I did last time that happened to me. Over the week, my mother kept calling me, making sure to remind me to eat my ramen noodles. I was short on cash then, waiting for my first paycheck. I never told her that I ate it. I suspected then that I had been poisoned, and after doing some Googling, believed it was cyanide. Now that is something that you should never have to think, that your own mother would do that to you. So I resisted that thought, because I simply could not bear to think that. So I went to get a cyanide test and ordered a kit. And I tried it. Now look at the graphics and the video on this page. Now here are the results of my test, and she links a picture, and guess what? Cyanide detected. Oh boy. I guess I'm going to have to call the cops, and I will never speak to my family again. Edit. Thank you for being my support group. You will get updates on this story. Update, 8:45 a.m. I am currently in Topeka, Kansas. I work downtown in a government office building, which has a police department. I visited the Capitol Police Station earlier and spoke to an officer. I showed him the evidence, and he said that he could do nothing about it since the package was opened and might have been contaminated. So does anyone have any ideas? And then most of the comments under that post were stuff like, oh my God, I can't believe you, the post was literal, or the title was literal, and stuff like that. Not a lot of theorizing comments or anything, but the OP posted an update a few months later, and the update reads as follows. A few months ago, I posted this. I was only able to file a police report, but only that so far. The police do not have enough evidence to investigate. I have gone no contact with my family. I currently live in a cheap motel in Topeka, Kansas. Yesterday, after getting home from work, I work for the Kansas state government as a software developer. The lady at the front desk told me that my mother called them to speak to me. For security reasons, the motel needs both the name and room number, and my mother didn't have my room number. She didn't even attempt to call my cell phone, which makes me believe that she just wanted to know if I was staying there and where. So this morning, I leave a little earlier than usual. The sky was still in the early twilight phase. I take the bus to and from work because my car blew a gasket almost a year ago before I moved and got my current job. As I was walking towards the bus stop, I saw someone in a strange car. She told me that if she visited, she would be here using a rental car, using the finger to tell me to come here. I looked but kept on walking. Then she opened the car door and she was in a black outfit and a hood, which is strange for my mother. Then I knew it was her when I saw her face. She told me to come here and I said no, kept a good distance. She said that she just wanted to know if I was okay. So I said yes, I am. She said that she just wanted to hug, but I said no. I don't know if there was anyone else in the car with her, but she is a gun owner and a good shot. She routinely kicked all our asses in duck hunt when I was a little kid, and still owned when playing Wii games with the gun controller. I ended up taking another bus to get to my job. So, when I get off of work, what is the best way to go home, or should I even go? If not, where should I go? I really think that it is not safe for me in Topeka. So if anyone knows of any NET development jobs, please PM me. Also, please give me some advice. And now let's get into some top comments on this post or on this update. Someone says, "You are under threat. Call the police. Get a restraining order. Alert the motel you are a stalking victim and under threat and no information is to be given out. Since your mother has conspired to poison you, it is safe to assume she doesn't give a damn about you being alive. You're out of the house and now she wants you dead. She's crazy. Don't interact with her. If you see her, immediately leave the area and call the police. Always have a cell phone to call 911 on you at all times, prepaid or planned. Your best move might be to completely move to another hotel with a new outfit. You need some witness protection shit right now, but nobody's going to give it to you, so you have to do it yourself for your own safety. Buy a gun or knife or both. Get something you can easily carry on you in discretion. Practice with them. She is your enemy and has been since you left her home. Don't underestimate her and give her doubt since you are biologically related to you. Never underestimate an enemy in what they'd be willing to do. It could be your downfall. Treat your self-defense towards her as you would a hoodlum or mugger. As for now, do not go out into the open when unnecessary. Do not meet friends for lunch. Don't take a walk in the park. Don't even walk down to the local convenience store for a chat with the owner. Never go outside unless necessary. Take a different bus each day. Alternate them always. Never form a definite schedule of transport. Buy new clothes. Obviously by now she's seen at least one set of your day wear. A dark jacket with a hood and jeans would be definitely preferable, and needed clothes for job interviews, etc. can be neatly stored in a backpack. Change in restrooms. Never eat food without you preparing it. Example, opening the sealed packaging, cooking it, etc. By now you should know this. If not, here we go. Fast food should be safe, but like I said, don't go outside unless completely necessary. The most preferable way of eating and obtaining food is to go to Walmart or a similar place and buy microwavable meals. You could cook your own food if you had access to appliances. With your motel situation, that seems unlikely. Do not alert family, friends, or Facebook of your situation or location. This is vital. Loose lips sink ships. Keep small talk to a minimum on social media site, and that's only small talk. Anything beyond small talk and necessary information with friends and family is not allowed. You never know who she could have bribed or blackmailed into being her pawn to getting information out of you. Follow this. Keep motivating police to do something. For all we know, she has been diagnosed mental health problems, sociopath, schizophrenia, etc. Everything should blow over with this plan. Even if it seems extreme, you should be doing this for a month or 3, or even a whole year, can't say. Just remember, even if the plan feels like it's doing nothing, it is helping. Sources: former Witness Protection Agency coordinator. So this guy probably knows what he's talking about. And I mean, having your mother chasing after you, trying to kill you or poison you, it's crazy. And then someone agreed with the commenter saying, "I honestly cannot stress how important this is. OP, get the fuck out of there and be careful. Good luck." Another commenter said, "What does she have to gain from your illness or death? I wonder if she got a life insurance policy in your name. That would certainly give her motive. Police will only take this seriously if you provide evidence for motive." And then the OP said, "I really don't know. I will never know because I'm not in contact with her. I can only make guesses. Some have said some sort of syndrome by proxy. It is obvious that she didn't want me to leave the house and live on my own. Maybe her son is too white. I know she did try to get me to sign up for life insurance, but I can't remember if I ended up going along." And then the person replied, "I don't know if it's the same where you are, but where I live, parents can take out policies on their children. It very well could be that she could gain a large amount of money if something bad happened to you. Also, how are you? I've been waiting for an update to see if you're okay and how you handled everything the last few months." And the OP responded to this saying, "I was an adult, mid-20s or older to be more exact, when she tried this, so I don't know if that still applies. Oddly, she always wanted me to go on welfare so that she could use the money, even though she has been on psychiatric RN for more than 15 years. And she told me that she makes about $90K for a salary about a year ago, so I guess you could say that she was greedy for money. What would you need my welfare payments, which totaled out to be about $200 a month, for when you are making that much money?" Some other weird things about this is that she's a hoarder, and nothing around the house was ever fixed because it cost too much money. Even when told by others that the job didn't have to be expensive, she refused to do anything to fix the house. She couldn't be bothered to buy a $100 washer and dryer. Many of the wood walls and ceilings are decaying, and there's a huge hole in the ceiling right above the tub. There are so many problems like that in the house. But again, she couldn't use her money to actually fix the house and provide a safe living space for my now 5-year-old nephew. One thing that my mother knew, because I told her this a few times over the years, was that I wanted to move out. I didn't make it about her or anything like that. Just told her that I am old enough and that it is time for me to move out so that I can live like an adult and do adult things such as dating. But I didn't tell her that because of my interest in white women and her extreme hatred of white women. So I finally got a decent job as a software engineer that would allow me to move out of the house. So I did that. Of course, my mother telling me to go on welfare stopped because now I had a job and was making too much money to be on welfare. My sister became more and more hostile since I got the good job. At some point, her shenanigans became so great that I had to move out. For my safety, as she pointed guns at me, with evil smiling and laughing. What the fuck? After losing my job and moving back home, my mother and sister were cool for the first few days. I spent pretty much all my time searching for new employment. They gradually got more hostile, and actually went apeshit bananas when I took a job offer out of state, and I was handed the poisoned food the morning of my departure. Just based upon my latest thinking, inspired by your post, she could make me go on welfare or other things since I was living under her roof and not making any contributing payments to the house. When I got a good job and left to live on my own, she could no longer do that, and I was in control of my money and myself. When I first moved out while still living in the same city as her, she tried to control my life. But moving out of state makes control all but impossible. If there are any way to find out if there are any current life insurance policies on myself, if so, I'll get them canceled immediately. Another comment the OP commented about saying, "Actually, I am a Black American. My mother, sister, and my father hold some Black nationalist / supremacist beliefs. I'm thinking the fact that I'm not exclusively interested in Black women might have at least something to do with this. My sister, for instance, is a Kemetism." And I looked up what Kemetism is, and Kemetism is a modern revival of the ancient Egyptian religion centered on honoring the Netjuru, which is the Egyptian gods, following the principle of Ma'at, truth, balance, and harmony, and drawing inspiration from historical texts, rituals, and symbolism. It blends reconstructed ancient practices with modern interpretations. Okay, so it's just a Egyptian belief. Okay, interesting. And then she continues saying, "My mother has been a Christian most of my life," and Christian was in quotes, "as far as I can tell. However, when she made her Facebook profile about a year or so back, she listed her religion as spiritual. So that makes me wonder what she really believes. My father is a business owner, and he runs an entertainment company based upon one style of dance. I left the business 3 years ago because I was sick of the abuse, thought he was a sociopath, didn't want to be a starving artist, liked being a programmer much better, and wanted something better out of life. I also didn't want to be constantly talking about race, talking about white people this, white people that, Black men, mainly those with white women, are this, that, and etc." Interesting. So we learned more about the family dynamic in that comment. But another comment someone asked is, "The part that really bowled me over is that you knew what cyanide poisoning felt like to begin with. Can you give us some background on that story?" And then the OP replied to that comment saying, "I didn't know what it felt like. All I knew was that this was a feeling familiar. My sister fed me stuff that made me feel the same way earlier, and I suspected that it was poison since I had just finished a bowl of ramen noodles. I then Googled it, realized that the symptoms matched cyanide poisoning, did more research on cyanide poisoning, and then ordered the test kit. I still wasn't really to totally accept that I was poisoned and was hesitant to go to the police just in case I wasn't poisoned. And I think that's a little bit of a ambiguous answer. I mean, yeah, it is kind of weird to be like, I feel weird. I think it's cyanide poisoning. I mean, I'm not calling the OP a liar, but at the same time, it's a little bit weird. She could have been poisoned, but it's like you could have tested for any poison. And for it to be cyanide, like that seems very, very specific. And then we don't hear anything from the OP for a long, long time. The account kind of went silent and there was no other comments from the OP or anything. People were speculating. It's like, what the hell happened to OP? Did they get killed or something like that? Did the mother finally kill her or poison him? But they gave an update 8 months later. And the OP said, and by the way, I have moved out of state since making my last thread with this account. And I'm doing very well with a nice job and am in better health. So that's great that the OP is in better health. But this, by the way, this thread was posted 11 years ago now, 12 years ago. So we haven't heard from the OP ever again. We don't know if they're all right. Hopefully they are. But that's such a weird scenario. I mean, this is such a weird and interesting story. I mean, so the OP wanted to leave the house. The mother didn't want them to for weird reasons. I think the OP's mother probably has some sort of mental health issues or spiritual beliefs. I don't know. The hoarding plus other sort of things they mentioned does probably point to mental health issues of some sort. And then also, yeah, the OP's mother showing up in a black hoodie and then kind of saying some weird stuff. It's just such a weird story. I mean, I don't need to reiterate it all, but such a weird story. And then for cyanide poisoning to be correct, and I have so many questions. It's like, did the police end up arresting the mom? I mean, like, can you just poison people and not get like arrested for it? Like, that's crazy. And so, like, did the family ever get arrested? Did anyone in the family get arrested or fined or restraining order or what? This is such an interesting thread, but yeah, we just haven't got an update. I mean, 12 years later, I don't think we'll ever get an update unless the OP is watching this video somehow. Hey, if you're watching this video, OP, send me an email for my email. But yeah, very interesting thread. And on to the next one. I found my wife's secret Google account and I'm sick to my stomach. Originally posted to r/true off my chest and originally posted on March 17th, 2024. And the post reads as follows. I, male 36, met my wife, Bailey, female 33, 9 years ago through mutual coworkers, and we hit it off immediately. I fell absolutely head over heels with this woman. She was everything I was looking for. I'd gotten out of a toxic, dare I say, abusive, long-term relationship right before that with a woman Bailey had been acquainted with, but not friends with. I had her blocked on everything and had no contact with her since breaking up. We got married right after the tail end of the pandemic, bought our first house together, and started trying to conceive. That was difficult because Bailey had PCOS, but last year she finally gave birth to our first daughter. I'm having a blast being a dad. It's kind of a dream come true. I finally got my happy life with my perfect wife. My perfect wife. Until last Monday. My laptop's battery shit the bed, so I open up Bailey's work tablet with an attached keyboard. You can set it up like a monitor to check on some tax stuff. She wasn't home. It was just me and the baby. But we've never asked permission to use each other's devices. We've always been open like that. There's nothing for us to hide. Or else, that's what I thought. When I opened up the internet, I noticed she had the incognito tab open. Never in a million years did I expect to discover what I did. My wife has a secret Google account with a photo album saved called XX. So I clicked on it. Did I discover an affair? Lewd pictures? Nope. In this Google album were over 300 photos, 348 actually, of my ex. The woman I was with right before I met Bailey. The woman who tormented me and made me feel worthless. The album said it started back right around the time Bailey and I started dating and was updated as recently as 2 weeks ago. The photos range from candid shots with family to pictures at her work functions. There were even pictures from her yearbook. I don't know how Bailey could have found her high school yearbook photos, photos from vacations, ID photos from work, pictures of her in crowds, screenshots of videos, and screen recordings of videos. Just her. The other people in the photos would be scribbled out, or the photo would be cropped and zoomed in just on my ex. There was other disturbing things I found too. There was another album with just zoomed up pictures of my ex's hair. Come to think of it, Bailey had recently started wearing her hair different, and my ex had a very identifiable hair type. There was another album with screenshots of comments on social media. Of course, I can't find them because I have her blocked, like Facebook groups she's in and public posts. And my ex is very low-key on social media. I can't imagine the lengths Bailey went to find them. My ex literally lives in another country now. There were other different links to the exact outfit she was wearing, like very specific blouses and trousers you'd have to really look for to find. A specific water bottle I remembered her purchasing, and identical hiking boots and sandals. So basically, my partner of almost a decade has been single white femaling with my ex-girlfriend, has secretly stalked her to the point of buying her exact clothes and changing her hair. And now I'm starting to realize Bailey's new interests over the years were just my ex's. Bailey has turned herself into my ex. Everything feels like a lie. Our love feels like a lie. The things we share feel like a lie. I threw up and had a panic attack. I looked at our daughter and felt betrayed. I haven't confronted her yet. I don't know if I want to. I want to run away with our daughter. I want to print out all her pictures, leave them on the table, and disappear. I don't know what to do. I just want to throw up. And then let's get into some relevant comments under this post. Someone comments, "Holy cow, that definitely is alarming. The best thing to do is address it now to see what it'll change if she no longer has someone to replicate." The toxic side of me would slowly start mentioning things like, "You know, you really do remind me of someone," and nonchalantly bite into an apple and walk away. And then the OP responds to this comment saying, "I feel like what's worse is that she subtly made these changes over time under my nose. So my ex has a specific career, and Bailey didn't express interest in switching careers to the exact same thing until after I had mentioned what my ex did. Didn't notice at the time, but I remember telling her X went to school for that. The hair was more recent, the outfits and objects slowly over time. The interests, I'm not sure how much she's stolen personality-wise from my ex and what she actually likes. It's all incredibly exhausting and confusing." Someone else commented, "I'm so sorry. This sounds like something out of a creepypasta." And the OP replies saying, "I'm actually surprised with the amount of support I've gotten on here in the last hour, haha. Believe it or not, there are no other red flags in our marriage. Now I don't know what else I've missed." And then the OP added something saying, "While I talked about my ex, most of the things I told my wife about were negative and paint her in a not such good light. My wife knows these things and know they were traumatic. Of course, I've mentioned things like what she does for a living and things she used to do. I think everything else she found she got through intense cyber stalking through my ex's friends and family. The yearbook photos, I have no idea." And then the OP gave us an update, and the update reads as follows. "I'm pretty sure I accidentally got my original post removed just now because I tried to update it with a link to my update. Oops. Anyway, I'm the guy who found the Google Drive full of pictures of my ex, so I was not expecting my original post to go viral on YouTube and TikTok. I have so many responses. Yikes. I am overwhelmed by the support. I am humbled by the number of people who have been through this experience on both sides. And really? There's a lot of people that found their fiancés or wives' Google Drive with pictures of the ex. It seems like a very unique thing to me. But anyways, I have an update, but it's probably not as exciting and as juicy as you want. It's not bad though. First, let me clear things up. If people think this post is fake because it doesn't make sense, or are trying to conceive timeline is short, or the way I worded things makes it look like a teenager or woman wrote it, continue to think that because it means I've successfully been vague enough and worded things to not accidentally dox myself. Believe this as a creative writing exercise so I don't embarrass myself. For real. No, I didn't actually throw up. I was in the middle of a panic attack. Private browsing tabs were open to the websites with clothing and objects. Another tab was signed into Google Photos. When I exited the Google Photo tab to look at the websites with clothing and came back, it was already signed out and I couldn't get back in. A lot of the clothing I recognized wasn't because I remembered my ex wearing them. There are more recent pictures of her in the file wearing them. And I remember the day Bailey bought the water bottle that also happened to be in the folder. The hair. Bailey and my ex are the same race, and my ex wore braids in a particular way. Not so particular that it's exclusive to my ex, because Bailey has also worn different braids, but seeing pictures of her made me put two and two together. Is there any way Bailey could have gotten with me in an attempt to get to my ex? Was Bailey possibly obsessed with my ex before she met me? Probably not, because Bailey grew up here and my ex originally moved here for university. And while you can drive across the border, it's not that easy, and I don't think Bailey was going back and forth to stalk her in person. Also, the reasons why my ex and I broke up have nothing to do with Bailey, and she could not have had any involvement. On to the actual update. The next day, when I had calmed down, I called several social workers and therapists. I was planning to confront her there. Unfortunately, the only places that take our insurance did not have an opening for another couple weeks. So, despite what a lot of you guys think, I've known my wife for nearly a decade, and even while I was confused and upset and doubting things, I didn't think she'd be a danger to me. We took our baby to grandma's and I asked her to go for a walk with me. I did not beat around the bush and straight up told her I found the folder. Her face got very red and she was frozen, but also tried to play dumb at first. I was persistent, and she started crying and begged me not to leave her. This is what I uncovered. Bailey first started looking up my ex out of curiosity, to keep tabs, I guess. But over time, it became more pathological. It's like she got addicted to it, but she also wanted to please me. Okay, maybe I talked about my ex a lot more than I thought, and Bailey wanted to emulate the good parts. She told me she really doesn't know who she is, and my ex's image was something she latched onto because she had me first. Finding information about her became a game. Finding the clothing and objects became a game. By searching things like blue water bottle, green stripe, until she could compare the product to a photo and find the exact ones. The reason why I couldn't find the post wasn't because I had blocked my ex, but because my ex had made a new Facebook under a different name. Bailey found her profile by searching up a family member. She made fake social media and added enough mutual friends until she could see my ex's posts, and until her private Instagram accepted her. She weaseled her way into her exercise Facebook group where the videos were posted, and searched her school on a yearbook website to find the yearbook pictures. Over time, she just collected the images and would get excited to find something new, despite the fact that my ex is extremely private on social media. The folder had originally been called Hex the X, in case I discovered it. She was going to make the excuse of saving the pictures to put a hex on her. When she made a burner Google account, she deleted the old folder and named the new one XX. Then she got sloppy and comfortable, and that's right around the time I just happened to open the work tablet. We took a break. It was a while. We made it to couples counseling, and Bailey and I also began seeing separate therapists. She still has not made an assessment with a psychiatrist, but it's on the list. She promised to stop and deleted the album in front of me. Slowly, certain clothing items began to disappear from the closet. I still do not entirely trust her, and that is for me to work on. I'm afraid she has another secret account somewhere, like a backup. The physical mimicking is actually stopping, though, including the hair change. We're still not okay. I want us to be okay, and it's okay if that takes time. If we end up not being okay, then that's something I have to deal with. What I do know is that my wife is incredibly insecure, probably mentally ill, and is misled. I don't really want to walk away from that. Although this probably isn't the most exciting update. I appreciate the private messages. I just couldn't get back to Reddit cares and links to resources. I'm not sure how I feel about social media, YouTube, and TikTok picking up on the story though. That's wild. Until next time, if I ever give another update, I hope it's a good one. And then some relevant comments. Someone says, the outcome does not look positive. Why stay in a one-sided relationship? At least put a plan together that runs concurrently so you're prepared should it not work out. Seek legal advice, prepare evidence, and don't do anything stupid. At least then you will be in a better place. Either way. And then the OP responds saying, a plan is something I'm still having trouble coming up with, and it's been a couple months. I think I'm afraid to make a plan. Does that make sense? And that's the only comment the OP responded to. The other ones were just like kind of reacting to it, which makes sense. But yeah, that's a crazy story. And I mean, the OP has never made a post on that account again. So yeah, that was the last kind of post the OP ever made on that account. But a very interesting story and unique story. I mean, to find your wife's secret Google Drive that has a lot of pictures of your ex-girlfriend and your wife is mimicking your ex-girlfriend. I mean, like, that's crazy. And I don't know how they're going to move forward. I mean, I can't see the OP ever trusting the wife again. I mean, to hide something from your husband for, who knows, 10 years? That's a long time. Who knows what else she's hiding or whatever. I mean, that seems like a really, really big rough patch. And I mean, even at the end, the OP is like, I think my wife is mentally ill. And so who knows if the wife is dealing with anything. I mean, I just wish them the best because, yeah, it seems like a very, very rough situation. A very interesting situation, but rough. And I just have to say, I wish them the best. But yeah, very interesting. Let me know your thoughts on it down below. And yeah, that wraps up today's video. Someone settling Reddit threads. Did you like this video? Did you love it? If you did, comment down below. I appreciate all the comments. I read every single comment, so please comment down below and like the video. It helps more than you know. And subscribe to the channel. The channel's goal is 1 million subscribers, so please subscribe to the channel and join the community. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy other videos on the channel, so check out some other videos. I've uploaded a handful of Reddit threads videos, and I also have Reddit stories, 4chan threads, 4chan stories, so check out some other videos. And yeah, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means the world. And this was Snook, and I'll see you next time. Bye.